And welcome back to another episode of Underdog Podcast. Tuesday, Taco Tuesday in the Jackson residence. I'm cooking up a whole chicken right now, so boil that up in a pot and then let it shred up, and then bam, we're gonna have chicken tacos for dinner tonight. And then when they go off with their mother for a few days, or whatever, how many days they're with her, guess what? I'll be eating a bunch of fucking shredded chicken and whatever else is around the house and stuff. Cool. Gonna hop right into it today with these topics because man, there's a lot going on, right? The narrative with this economy, the global economy, these cryptocurrencies. I think I woke up this morning, a bunch of different websites were down. I think some of Amazon web services or Amazon websites were down and stuff around the world. Uh, More of these so-called ransomware attacks and stuff like that has been going on, and man, it's funny because ransomware is like if you're a hacker, you don't really do those things. Like, like no, nobody's really gonna pay. Uh, Whatever. Kind of. I'm not even gonna go down that road. That's another whole separate discussion. So, but as you check the crypto markets today, so far as I think stocks are kind of around the same. They're not too much. Everything's kind of moving a little bit sideways. You can kind of tell like the markets are trying to teeter around, except for commodities. I think gold is up, silver is a little bit down, but I think gold was up by like 0.05%, something like that. Still hanging around that 1800, high 1800s, 1900 area, but that's all manipulated anyways. But a lot of stuff is going on as far as the economy and around the world as everybody so-called try to get back on track from the pandemic and blah blah. It's funny, you don't need to get back on track if you didn't shut everything fucking down, right? Is when I say shit is done by design, it's done by design. It's intentional because if you know anything about the basic principle, foundation of economics, or a lot of stuff, it makes no sense to do the shit that has happened this past year, right? A lot of shit just literally makes no sense. The so-called Wuhan lab leak and stuff. Come on, man. I called it last year. Other people called it, been saying this stuff for years and years. Like, this is what they do. Those are the people, the power behind the scenes, or whatever you want to call them. You're a new world order, you're a shadow government, whatever you want to call them. Like, when they're pulling the strings, they'll do things. And first it'll be like, oh man, this came out of nowhere. The next thing you know, people find out what's going on. Then they're like, oh yeah, it was an accident. Bullshit, bro. It's no accident, man. It's no accident. You knew what you was doing over there in the Wuhan lab, right? Oh, it was a lab leak. Oh yeah, maybe it was just an accident. Bull, it's not an accident, man. They knew what it was going on. All these things have been so-called predicted, air quotes predicted, but it's not predicted. So the what we're in now is a continuation of the Great Reset. Did a Great Reset last year, starting to kick off with a lot of infrastructure and stuff like that. First, you got to show everybody how outdated and antiquated, antiquated these systems are, especially your financial system, right? You talk to your bank or some type of loan lender and you explain cryptocurrencies or commodities trading and stuff like that, they have no idea what the fuck you're talking about, right? They probably have no idea where the money comes from. They have no idea what's going on. They're outdated. Decentralized finance is taking over. Flare Network is a fucking juggernaut, which I failed to even realize. I just now, these past couple weeks, been paying close attention to it. The Flare Network is real, right? That that solves a lot of issues with Bitcoin. It solves the issues with Ethereum, right? The scalability. Like, oh, look into the Flare Network, man. Flare Network is huge. Like I said before, like once it fully comes online, or at least once they do the airdrop, which I think is supposed to happen towards the end of this week. I hope so. I mean, I sell my accounts or whatever to make sure I get some of that Flare token because I was sleeping on that. I was like, whatever. But I still had a chance. I claimed mine yesterday, so give me my shit. that's 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 more money in my pocket right there. You ain't gotta be a genius, man. You gotta read these articles, cipher through the bullshit, critical think, and it's right there. All these narratives that they're pushing out now has been set up over the years. Start off today, we got an article here from Fox News. It says Trump, Bitcoin seems like a scam. A quote from him, and should be regulated very, very high. It says Trump said he has always wanted the U.S. dollar to be the currency of the world. Now, of course, he's going to say that because he's saying that from a position of, well, president of the United States, former president of the United States, depending on who you're speaking to. And for him, far as so-called person in a position of political leadership, where you want to call it, it's all America, America, America. Oh, look at us. You know, we have a great, strong currency and stuff like that. It's a world reserve currency. He knows it's not going to be the world reserve currency, right? You know, I'll show you guys a little bit something here on this next webpage I got pulled up. He's not going to be, the US dollar is not going to be a world reserve currency. It can't be because nobody wants to accept that shit. You can't sit here and sanction people like they've been doing in the past stuff. I'll talk about a little bit later on today's episode as far as Russia and Putin being mad at the US dollar being weaponized. And it's been going on forever. Talk about the new Bretton Woods 2.0 agreement. Some type of reserve currency, maybe a basket of currency, the SDRs, whatever, that's backed by some type of physical commodity, maybe gold, maybe energy, whatever you want to call it. So you're going to have all this going on and stuff. But at the same time, you're going to have, you know, essentially XRP and XLM in some form capacity. And others, I'm sure, as well, kind of being the bridge currency. You know, as I say, or as XRP, even on Ripple's website, saying it's a global reserve currency, what they're really saying is it's a bridge currency, meaning all these nations, everybody can have their own thing. You can still do your own thing, but still be connected to each other. So there goes your global connectivity. There goes your one world governance, as you like to call it, New World Order and stuff, as the UN likes to believe we're all under one world and stuff like that, which is cool. I mean, obviously, we ain't trying to be under one world under communism, but I'd rather be under one world in the free markets, true free markets, not this bullshit that they put on us in the United States and in some other country, but true legit free markets and true legit capitalism. So XRP being that bridge currency, it sounds like it's a reserve currency, but it's just an asset where you can switch in and out of different commodities, stocks, and whatnot. And with Flare Finance under the Flare network, there goes to decentralized finance, which for the most part Ethereum has kind of capitalized on. But Cardano ADA, Flare Finance, the Flare token, decentralized Flare token, all this, Flare Finance kind of crushes Ethereum and also supports Ethereum at the same time and the ADA, because you don't have to have just one thing, right? The goal is to have a whole bunch of different things, because that will continue on your whole idea of decentralization. But at the same time, if you have some type of intermediary, there we go, to go in between these different blockchains, these different assets, these digital assets, these different stocks and commodities, stuff like that. You talk about 24/7 trading, right? You think about Sologenics and Solo being able to the tokenization of stocks and commodities and stuff like that. These are the things that are coming. More or less, when I say they're coming, they're already here. The infrastructure is being built in the background, and when it comes, it's going to come at you fast. But only because, for the most part, for the majority of people, it seems like this is something new. The fact is, the news and media just lies about everything, right? They want to tell you all these different stuff, and they want to put all these narratives. The whole Bitcoin narrative about it being a scam, stuff like that. It's nothing new, man. Right? Like, even with this, that's why I want to bring this up with Trump. He didn't say nothing new. He said this while he was president. He's been saying this. It's because he backs XRP through the IMF deal. I can't remember. I seen the video clip somewhere before, and I can't remember where I found it at. It was on YouTube, where he talks about the IMF deal and stuff. Digital Dollar Project. Already been in the work for years. Nothing new. So none of this stuff is new, right? They just act like it's new. But what they do is wait for the right time to launch it on people where they'll accept it in a manner without too much resistance. Because, like talk about before, when you talk about changing something, especially we're literally talking about going to a more digital world, correct? a lot of people don't want to come to a completely digital world like that. But you gotta find some way to force them into this change. That's where your problem reaction solution uh, comes into play. Don't worry, if I scare you enough, you'll find a way to accept any change possible. That's why everybody's got these vaccines coming out and stuff. That's why people been wearing masks this past year. If you scare people enough, because fear is a powerful tool when you're trying to change the world, or you trying to make a massive impact of a change on a huge population. Fear is a wonderful tool. Like, just be honest about it, man. If I wanted to think about it from a kid's, not kid standpoint, but from a parenting standpoint, when you're talking about with kids and stuff, what a lot of people do, right? They scare kids into acting better, right? They tell you about Santa Claus when you're a kid and say, hey, if you don't be good, you won't get any presents for Christmas. So they fear you. They put that fear into you to make you straighten up and be good and stuff. Some religious ideologies do this. Fear is a powerful tool when you want people to behave in a certain manner, or you want people to accept some type of change. Let me scare you, and from that fear, the most logical conclusion after that is, oh, like last year with the virus and stuff, or still this year with the virus, where you want to say, people will still wear a mask because they've been pushed into that concept of, hey, you gotta wear this because you'll get sick. And because of that fear and anxiety is such a powerful emotion, it overcomes the logical thinking, and thus you go down that path. This is no different than what's going on, what we're seeing right now as far as cryptocurrencies and stuff. It was a joke, it's a fad, it's all these different things. Dogecoin is a fad, right? It's a joke coin, it's a meme coin. So it's Shiba Inu. It's the Shiba coin, right? It's a meme coin. Yet it's gonna be on Flare Finance. They took a meme coin and it's like, oh, we see there's a bunch of people involved in it. Oh, okay, let's find a way we can make some money here. Put it on our network and stuff like that. How the fuck did they even decide to put that on there? That means it wasn't a reaction. They was already planning it because this Flare network, I think, has been in planning since 2017. I think is when Dogecoin was created around that time. So they already been planning this stuff. It's just behind the scenes. Because when you do these plannings, guess what? You don't fucking tell everybody what you're doing. You want nobody to be paying attention to your business. You focus on what you're doing. So, as Trump is saying Bitcoin is a scam, well, he probably should know. He probably should know. Because he probably knows exactly who created it. It's the U.S. government. And people forget that they could, say you could hate Trump all you want to, you could have all these different things about him and stuff. There's still no denying that he was the president of the United States for a period of time, or still is, depending on who you talk to. But at the same time, he had access to the information. So you don't think he knows who Bitcoin created, or who's the creator of Bitcoin? Right? You think he's telling you it's a scam? Now, obviously, like I said before, he's saying, oh, you talk about it competing against the U.S. dollar and stuff like that. Yeah, said Trump asserted that he does not like Bitcoin because it is essentially another currency competing against the U.S. dollar. It's not another currency competing against the U.S. dollar. For the most part, it's a currency in which it's kind of a hedge against inflation for the most part. It kind of see it as a rise out of the 2008 recession, one of the great economic crises of the modern history. So you kind of see the birth of Bitcoin, something more of a. It's kind of get you back on the concept of digital encrypted currency, right? Moving money across the internet at the speed of light because of the internet, right? Fast speed and stuff, and it kind of gets you the idea on a finite currency instead of infinite currency, which you have with fiat, where you can print that shit into oblivion, as opposed to with something that's more, hey, we only have so much of this, and this is part of what gives its value. So you have that concept. Now you have XRP, ADA under Cardano, and all these different other assets and stuff, where it's like, okay, now we have a finite finite amount. Like, it's a set amount. You only have this amount. You only have 100 billion XRP. That's it, right? Yeah, that's it. No more is created. Yes, you can fork it, because guess what it is? They forked it. They did a fork of XRP Ledger, and now you have Flare Network. So you can fork it off the original source code on, what is it, GitHub, something like that. and you create other different projects and stuff, but it's still going to be based on the principle of some type of finite amount, because that is what ensures that it keeps its value over a longevity of a period. Man, I hope that makes sense. Because I'm explaining it to you, but I'm trying to explain it to a simple manner, because this is based on, like I've often say, like when I talk about stuff, it's not me based on me reading a couple articles. It's because I've been reading stuff for years and watched a lot of videos and listen to other people talk about it that know more than I do. So I'm kind of just fusing all this together, in which I learned over the past years. But Trump talking about Bitcoin is nothing new. He's been said this before. So as far as the Bitcoin market, Bitcoin being down itself and cryptocurrency being down, it has nothing to do with the news. People think if there's a huge reaction to the news, but it's not. Because if that was the case, XRP would be like $300 right now, right? It has nothing to do with actual news and stuff. The market is just manipulated because it's so volatile and it's so new. Nobody really knows how to handle it and stuff like that, as far as the algorithms and how it should go up and down. Also, who's gonna regulate it? Who's gonna do all this stuff anyways, man? If people are making money off of it based on how it is, and you can manipulate the markets, guess what you're gonna do? You're gonna keep making money off of it. But you're starting to see that whole 99% of cryptocurrency is about to collapse. So a lot of people are investing in some bullshit ass coins. Like, let's just be honest about it. A lot of people investing in it. Another reason why I want to talk about it more, because I, I, I can feel it coming, and the evidence is right there. The proof is in the pudding. As far as all these different articles, they're ramping up this stuff talking about cryptocurrency, because the crackdown is coming. Guess what coin you know for sure will be safe? And obviously the crackdown will talk about United States of America, but for the most part, majority of the other countries, especially you talk about your G7, G20, your country, stuff like that, they're following along the mode, or the tempo, rather I should say, of the United States economy. But it's coming. That's why you're starting to hear all this news about Bitcoin. So that even though it's nothing new, right? This is literally nothing new. This has been said for years now. This is nothing new about Bitcoin. Yet people are starting to become a little bit, they're starting to be a little bit more aware in what's going on and stuff. Now, why I said some of this is starting to show occultist behavior towards Bitcoin, because you can't ignore the facts. You can't ignore the logic behind everything. I don't like Dogecoin. I don't like Shiba coin. I think it's a joke coin, it's a meme coin, it's stupid. But seeing that it's on Flare Network or Flare Finance, guess what? I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna get a couple, right? Because I might think it's stupid, but clearly there's a plan behind it to give it value. So guess what? Logic tells me go with that. That's simple. You gotta get rid of these emotions and emotional attachments to things that don't even fucking matter. Why are you emotionally attached to a Bitcoin? It doesn't matter. It's not even physical, right? It's not like you're gonna put it in your bed and hold on to it, right? Well, you're gonna hold on to your Ledger Nano S, right? You're gonna hold on to your hardware cold storage? No. So there's no reason to have a physical attachment to these things, man. If you're in this to make money, then make the fucking money. Think about what you're doing. Pay attention to what's going on. Do your own research. Yeah, use some emotion, but not make your decisions based completely on emotion. Have that balance of emotion and logic. What feels good and what also logically makes sense. Just trying to help people out, man, because I can make a little bit of money. And if I can make a little bit of money, and I'm doing this on my own for the most part, just following other things going on the internet and listening to other people talk, guess what? That means we're all capable about doing the same thing. Whoa. What's it say? It says on Saturday, Goldman Sachs published a note regarding a new survey to find out what assets hedge fund investment chiefs favor in 2021 market. The note by Timothy Moe explained that the chief investment officer's least favorite investment was Bitcoin. You see it, man. The crackdown is coming. Like I said, guess who's going to be okay? XRP. Want to know why? Because we're literally watching it in this fake ass SEC lawsuit. You want to talk about regulations and stuff like that? We're watching the regulations come through. We're watching the clearance of, okay, well, now we know what's not a security and what literally is a currency. XRP, which I think Goldman Sachs lists as a currency. I think everybody lists it as a currency. Nobody lists it as a security. Meanwhile, Ethereum literally did it as a security. And nobody's behind Bitcoin network. So to continue on with this kind of narration of Trump and Bitcoin, I don't know why Fox News has a whole bunch of. I just see boobs all over the place, right? I flat out just see boobs and nipples on all these advertisements. I don't know. I just happen to notice that. I mean, how can you not notice that? See a bunch of boobs, a bunch of titties and nipples standing out. It's like just popped on my face. Like, come on, man. God damn, the media ain't shit, bro. But I wanted to show people this because this is from CFR.org, Council on Foreign Relations. Now, if you don't know anything about a Council on Foreign Relations, I don't know what to tell you because if you want to know how the world works, you probably should pay attention to who the hell is the Council of Foreign Relations. So this is from the Internationalist and International Institutes of Global Governance Program. It says Trump, the World Bank, and the IMF explain the dog that didn't bark yet. So this is a blog post from a student and Patrick, the author. This is from October 11, 2017. This shows you how old it is. So this is right? It should be right when his first year in office. So the big surprise of Donald Trump's America First presidency, has been the moderate tone he has adopted toward the World Bank and International Fund, which hold their annual meetings at Washington this week. So do your own research. Talk about before the ties between XLM, mainly Ripple, XRP. When you have Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse on stage at a conference set up by Ripple, and the IMF is there. Former president of IMF Christine Lagarde is there. Now she's over at the European Central Bank. If I tell you all this stuff, it sounds like a conspiracy theory, and I'm just insane, or whatever. The media is not gonna tell you this shit at all. And this is why the media is not an ally to the people. They don't care about truth or facts or any of that shit. They only care about ratings and money and pushing the narrative. If someone tells them they're supposed to do this, they talk about this, then they shut the fuck up, and that's what they talk about. Because IMF, if Trump doesn't like Bitcoin, if he was talking to the World Bank and the IMF, and he had them at the White House because the headquarters of the IMF is in Washington, D.C., which is interesting, right? Because why is the headquarters of the IMF in Washington, D.C.? But whatever. So you talk about all this stuff. Clearly, Trump is not about globalization, and yet he still was doing a global deal. Remember, Trump is a businessman. So he negotiated that. Man, I wish I need to find that video clip. He negotiated the IMF deal, but he never said what the IMF deal is. Can't say what it is because NDAs, non-disclosure agreements. There's a lot of things they legally can't talk about, but yet they still try to tell you. They're lying, or they're admitting the truth, which is still a lie in my mind, in my opinion. But if you pay close enough attention, you know what's going on. Like, if you have these people all in the same room, if you have, look at Ripple and XRP, and look at the people, the organizations that have been around Ripple and stuff these past few years. They've been going every step of the way with regulations, with regulators, talking to the lawmakers and all this stuff, talking to governments around the world. Pay attention to who's backing it. Pay attention to the tree in which branch out, right? Makes you think about Bill Belichick with the Patriots and his coaching tree. How all of a sudden, everybody underneath his coaching staff over the years, they all got head coaching jobs or assistant coaching jobs, stuff like that. Like, this is kind of what Ripple has been doing with XRP. It's been connecting to all these different world organizations: World Bank, Bank of International Settlements, BIS, International Monetary Fund, IMF, European Central Bank. Like, yet people want to talk about Bitcoin. It's because they don't want you to know what's really going on. Because if you knew what's really going on, you'll be like, this is some fucked up shit that they've been planning all this stuff behind closed doors. But when we talk about people ruling the world, people having a huge influence, is that because they put in positions in which the rest of us say they should be put in these positions? Or not, I don't want to say us, that's probably mainly y'all, but whatever. But they put in these positions, so guess what they're going to do? They're going to do their job because they feel like, oh, well, I'm here to do this job and stuff, so let me do my job. But this is very interesting, right? Because you're not going to hear about this, right? It's on the Council on Foreign Relations, so it's hiding in plain sight. Yet no one say anything. It's right here on their website. As they're talking about different stuff they're gonna do. It goes on to say how he opted out all the World Trade Agreements, TTP, your Trans-Pacific Partnership, your North American Free Trade Agreement, your NAFTA, the World Trade Organization. He got all that stuff. Want to get out of NATO and everything. He could still support a national currency in the U.S. dollar and be a sovereign currency because he wants the dollar to be strong. But it's not going to be the world reserve currency. It's not going to happen because he accepted the IMF deal, which probably was to, okay, we'll leave y'all alone and stuff. You know, you can have your currency and stuff like that. But when you want to deal with other countries or maybe certain countries around the world, you need to use this XRP, this bridge currency, and stuff like that. That's just my own personal thinking. This is my own opinion. This is my own theory. That's it. Based on a lot of things I've seen. Like I said, in here it talks about President of the World Bank, Jim Young Kim, but also Christine Lagarde, Managing Director of the IMF. These people jump from one thing to another thing. She went from the IMF, Managing Director, to the President at the European Central Bank. She has talked about XRP, Ripple. She's talked about having a new reserve currency. This is not nothing new. This is stuff that's been going on. But I'm starting to see a lot of distractions to pull away from what's going on as far as his money and stuff. Because I talk about it often. If money is the thing everybody cares about, how come nobody really understands money? And how come we're not talking about money and cryptocurrency? They keep talking about cryptocurrency like it's some fad or anything, like it's gonna go away, like NFTs. Oh, it's all gonna go away and stuff. No, no, no. They've been planning this. They've been planning this. It's to get all these assets online, on the internet, be digitally traded worldwide, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. And it's about providing liquidity, being able to move in and out of assets, buy, sell, trade assets at a fast time so it does not affect the price. Because when transactions are done in less than 4 seconds on an XRP ledger, you're not worried about volatility, right? You're not worried about 1-2% drop within an hour or so, or a 20% drop within a day. You're not worried about that because you're able to make your transactions in 4 seconds, and not just a pending transaction, but a full, complete, confirmed transaction. And you can look it up because blockchain is public. You can look it up. Oh, but don't worry. What about those, banks and stuff that want to have their private ledgers, or centralized banks that want to have private ledgers? Your Federal Reserves, your Bank of England, Bank of London, whatever, all these different banks. Oh, Ripple is developing a private ledger. Wow. Wow. I'm laughing because it's so fucked up how obvious all this stuff is. But it's only obvious if you're paying attention. It's kind of like it's like you're able to only see certain dimensions based on your awareness or your conscious awareness. Correct? Because of your eyes, you only be able to see certain fractures of the light spectrum. Right? Like it's like if you know, you know. That's what it comes down to. If you know, then you know. If you don't know, then guess what? You don't know. If you know what's going on, then none of this is like shocking to you. I'm excited. I'm pumped up because I can see it. I was like, oh, because I know by the time they put out press release and they really ramp it up, it's already too late. So if you can manage to squeeze in and get some XRP on Uphold, if you're in the United States or wherever else you're around the world, you go ahead and get it. But then, be honest with you, if you haven't got it by now, you're probably not gonna get it because you really think, oh, it's a scam. It's funny. People think XRP is a scam, but nothing about Bitcoin, right? So if Trump is meeting with the IMF, and he's president of the United States, all this stuff, so he talks about Bitcoin, and he says it's a scam. Where is he coming from with this? But see, they done made him look like such a fool over these past years in the media that people will just dismiss what he's saying. So even if he was trying to tell everybody the truth, or at least provide some type of factual perspective, guess what? Everybody's sitting there like, no, no, no. Bitcoin is, liberation and stuff. Bitcoin is money. It's going El Salvador is going to be in the Bitcoin. All these countries going to be in the Bitcoin. It's going to make everybody wealthy. It's going to end poverty. You want to know how you end poverty? You get rid of fucking money altogether. You want to end poverty? Guess what? No money. You can operate a world under no money. I know it's a wild concept, and I'm not even just talking about. I know I mentioned before, like Jack Fresco and the Venus Project and the resource-based economy. No, but what I'm talking about, you can literally find a way. Not even the Ubuntu project. You can find a way to have a world without money. Because guess what? It already exists. When you're talking about tribal mentality or tribal living and stuff, when you talk about people living off the grid and whatnot, they already live and survive without money. So it's not like it's beyond a measure. If we all work together and we only had jobs that actually benefited the species, saying providing food, shelter, right? I mean, after that, what else is there about the human species? What else is there about life other than providing food and shelter? So we all work together and only had jobs that provided that not provided or provided and sustained food and shelter. Guess what? We live in one of those utopia societies. So, but that's not something that's gonna happen because we have money. But it's okay. It is what it is. So I'm just trying to help people out, in which I learned these things from other people. So I'm trying to give back and help people out to earn a little bit of money, man. Maybe you pay off a credit card debt. Maybe you pay off a student loan. Maybe you buy a new house. Maybe you put down a down payment on the house. Maybe you put a down payment on the car. Whatever, man. Wherever to help you out financially if you're going to live in this modern world with money. But look at all this stuff, man. It just goes on and on in this article. Basically, it's kind of I scanned over it before I got on the podcast. It's really just fun. Okay, I'll read something real quick. It's really just showing you that when Trump is talking about Bitcoin, he's coming from a different perspective than most people. He's coming from an actual business deal perspective inside the markets and the economy and stuff. And he's coming from a political perspective as well because, he was or still is, depending on who you're talking to, the president of the United States. People don't want to admit that, though. That's the problem with it all. People don't want to admit to that. Huh, that's weird. I was like, okay, never mind. I was seeing the notification. It was weird. But yeah, but people don't want to admit to that. And that's the big issue with all this stuff. Because when you talk about Bitcoin, people gotta realize something. So this is from Business Insider via MSN website. The FBI recorded a huge chunk of the Colonial Pipeline ransom by secretly gaining access to DarkSide's Bitcoin wallet password. Now, if you believe this hack is real, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, they could have actually hacked into it, but be honest with you, if they did, they got some help from somebody on the inside because you're that good to hack into a Colonial Pipeline network and so that. But then I think we talked about too how they so-called got into it because of legacy VPN, and nobody changed the password, whatever. But then people still can't hide their wallet or their password to their Bitcoin wallet. And the password to the Bitcoin wallet is like it's a long encrypted password, so you gotta have something special, or whatever. It's just hard to believe this, right? It's hard to believe this scenario, but you're noticing a lot of this ransomware stuff is coming on. I think I was on Disclosed TV on their Twitter page today, and there was some other ransomware attacks. So a lot of these things now they're starting to attack this infrastructure, the digital infrastructures, these networks and stuff to show, oh no, these networks aren't really secure. Next thing you know, I think it was a Bearable Bull who was talking about it, and I heard other people was talking about it before already as well. Next thing you know, your your bank accounts would be hacked into, right? All of a sudden, some bank would go down and been hacked into. I think it was Deutsche Bank that had already been hacked into, maybe last year, the year before that. So now, if everybody's worried about the network and stuff like that, guess what? That fear is gonna make you want to move into central bank digital currencies because yeah, there'll be digital currencies, but they'll be encrypted and they'll run on some type of public blockchain network, XRP Ledger, privately, or something like that. And they'll be distributed from your central bank in your nation and then your banks and stuff like that. And then after you get enough, whatever, it'll put enough liquidity into the network, or you at least have enough supply rather into the network. And that's the thing about all this stuff with what's going on. It's always gonna be fear to get the regular person into it. But if you're paying attention like I'm paying attention, and you probably are if you're listening to this, you're like, we seen this coming a mile away. Let's put our money somewhere, set aside into investments, put into cryptocurrencies, put into commodities, maybe put into some foreign currency, stuff like that, to make sure that your assets do not go away. I don't have most of my money in my bank account because if something happens, I don't. The U.S. dollar goes down, wherever the case may be, or something happens to the bank, I'm gonna put it somewhere else. Even some of my cryptocurrency is gonna be on an offline hard wallet, right? Store it away. So hey, ain't nobody touching this. Don't get on this. This is where my money is at. And actually, I moved more of it to my offline wallet in the past few weeks because I'm like, something's happening. I don't trust none of these things, man. And if you've been in crypto for a while, you know exchanges go down and stuff like that, and people lose their money. And sometimes the exchange will help people get their stuff back. Sometimes it can't. Uh, so when you feel like a ramp up like is going on right now in the media, and really this type of media attention hasn't really happened because now cryptocurrency is such a mainstream adoption. It hasn't really happened like this. So you're gonna get a lot of people coming online into cryptocurrency who have no idea what they're doing and stuff, and they're gonna lose their money. I'm just trying to help people out and make sure they don't lose their money, man. You can put on a digital, put on some type of wallet. Don't have it on the exchange. Some exchanges have wallets with them. Put on some type of wallet that's offline or whatever. And if you do have it on an exchange, well, make sure you have it on a credible exchange. There's a lot of fucking exchanges out there as well. You make sure you have it on a credible exchange. I like Uphold. Coinbase is okay. Crypto.com is okay, but I like Uphold for me personally because I didn't have no flack with them. Haven't had no real shit. I don't think I even come across any actual fees when I do any transactions and stuff like that. Like I'm good with them. I'm good with them. And I have a debit card and I can spend my digital assets, my commodities, wherever I got on there without having to transfer out to cash or anything. Still be careful because you're going to have to pay your capital gains tax. That sucks. I, it's still weird because maybe just set some money aside. If if you're cashing out, or when you make a transaction, it was more than that $10,000 limit and stuff like that. Kind of be careful on your capital gains tax. Something I gotta make sure I keep track of as well. But going on with this article, since I kind of deviated so much from it, says the Department of Justice sees 2.3 million of the ransom that Colonial Pipeline paid to the hacking group. So Colonial Pipeline paid money to the hacking group, and the Department of Justice came in and swooped in under that through the FBI to get the money. So they paid the ransom, they got their network back, and then the Department of Justice seized the money. That quick. That don't sound fishy to you? Like that don't sound like no side but inside job to you? Like, bro, that don't sound like it. It don't sound like, hey, somebody's collecting a lot of Bitcoin, and guess who that somebody is? The FBI, because this is like the third, fourth time that they have done something where they have seized Bitcoin off the dark web and stuff like that from some hackers or Silk Road. It says the FBI tracked the payments to a Bitcoin wallet for which it happened to have the password. It just happened to have the password, right? They can't even write a better article than that. It was like, yeah, just, yeah, we know this don't make no sense. Whatever. They just happen to have the password, and that they tracked it. I thought Bitcoin was untrackable. I thought Bitcoin was only for money laundering. Yet here it is. The FBI tracked the payments to a Bitcoin wallet. Huh. I thought it was all untrackable. That was untrackable money and stuff. It's gonna free the world. But people just lie, man. They don't know what they're talking about. Or they're trying to pump Bitcoin up so they can sell it and not tell nobody. Actually, you can sell a lot of stuff through microtransactions. You don't have to do a complete huge sell or use huge sell off or whatever. When you talk about crypto whale stuff, you can do a whole bunch of small microtransactions where nobody really notices. Have a whole bunch of different wallets and stuff. Whatever. It says this let the FBI legally seize the money and cut off dark side access to its ransom money. Department of Justice Monday, the Department of Justice announced Monday. What is this article? This article 11 hours ago. Okay. Oh, Monday yesterday. Wow. Wow. I thought it was a little bit older. Oh, okay, that's good then. I mean, good for me reporting on this, but and that's it. Good for people that got the money in Bitcoin. And what's gonna happen, man? If the truth came out, not even the truth, the facts, like not even the who created none of this stuff, but the fact that everybody talking about, oh, Bitcoin is free and it's gonna liberate the people. Like I said, yet FBI has a Bitcoin. Do you want the FBI to have Bitcoin? Do you want the United States government to have Bitcoin? It says the Department of Justice said that it had recovered 2.3 million worth of Bitcoin out of the 4.4 million ransom that Colonial had paid to DarkSide, the group behind the hack. I'm pretty sure they got the other money as well. They're just not gonna say nothing. How did the government pull it off? The FBI had what was effectively the password to a Bitcoin wallet that DarkSide had sent the ransom money to. So you're a hacker, yet you don't know that your passwords have been confiscated by the FBI. Come on, bro. Come on, man. Nobody just messes up and makes stupid, idiotic mistakes like this every now and then. But if you're supposed to be this clever and you're trying to pull something off, guess what? You're gonna cross your eyes, or you're gonna cross your T's and dot your I's. You're gonna make sure everything is on point. So if you fuck up, if somebody will catch you, let it be a clever way that it catch you, not that you just did some dumb shit. I don't buy this, but whatever. Then it says, follow the money. Despite criminals' increasingly sophisticated use of technology to commit crime. Yeah, so sophisticated, yet they didn't realize they had a password that was already confiscated. The Department of Justice said it used a time-tested approach to recover Colonial's ransom payment. So they come up with this bullshit story to say how they got the Bitcoin and all this other stuff. But what I really wanted to talk about was the fact that FBI has seized Bitcoin. So if they got this $2.3 million worth of Bitcoin, well, who is the largest holder of Bitcoin? Because at one point in time, I remember hearing it was the FBI. So I looked it up, saying it's FBI largest. I said Jolder. I completely misspelled that. FBI largest holder of Bitcoin. So there's an article here from RT, which you take it with a grain of salt. Obviously, it's state-funded news from Russia, which apparently is not going to open up for me right now, which really sucks. Okay, let me kind of read some of the excerpt that's right here that's showing. It says a new report from Wired. Oh, well, that's from Wired. Let me stop this then. Let me just open up the Wire page. Let's see. It's gonna take a long time to open up as well. Art just not gonna work. Cool. That's great because that makes sense. All right, here we go. So from Wired.com, this article is from 2013, bro. 2013. 2013. 2013. I can't stress that enough. 2013. It's 2021. It said, who owns the world's largest Bitcoin wallet? The FBI. They just happen to have the password to the wallet. I wonder, was that same wallet used by the so-called dark side hackers? I don't know. I'm not quite too sure. And it's not like I'm uncovering some type of huge mystery case. It doesn't matter to these people. They'll do whatever they want to do. Because if I say some of this, I sound crazy. Nobody's going to listen to me, so it doesn't matter. But like I said, if you know, you know. In September, the FBI shut down, obviously, remember, in September 2013, the FBI shut down the Silk Road online drug marketplace. Pretty sure they shut it down before, but whatever. I could be off of my times, and no, because I was deployed while this is going on, and I knew about this story way before I was deployed, years before. Whatever, the FBI shut down the Silk Road online drug marketplace, and it started seizing bitcoins belonging to the Dread Pirate robots, the operator of the illicit online marketplace, who they say is American man named Ross Ulbricht, whatever. The seizure had an unforeseen side effect. It made FBI the holder of the world's biggest Bitcoin wallet. unforeseen side effect. If you know anything about governments and investigation and stuff, this is how they get their budget up, by doing stuff like this. They get their budget up. Obviously, they get their budget from taxpayer dollars, and when they do their annual budget, and the money is disseminated amongst different branches of government. But when I was applying for OSI in the Air Force, this guy told me that we get a lot of money through fraud cases. So obviously, you watch TV and anything, it's right there too. So it's nothing, nothing like mind blowing. When they seize the criminal enterprises and stuff like that, things that they deem so-called criminal enterprises by laws that are created and stuff, when they seize this stuff and they take the money, guess what they do with it? They keep it, bro. They flat out keep it. They don't hide it. They keep it. And what they do with it afterwards is supposed to be in evidence, right? Who fucking knows what they do with it afterwards, but they do something with it. So just to show you, like, they're the largest holder of Bitcoin. It said the FBI now controls more than 144,000 Bitcoins that reside at a Bitcoin address that consolidates much of the seized Silk Road Bitcoins. How is Bitcoin going to be the payment system of the world or a store of value when the FBI has all of it? Or not has all of it, but has a good chunk of it, right? Who is going to, like, why would you put your money away when the FBI is right there, bro? You think they're going to flood the market with that? And then you think they're going to do government transactions and contracts over Bitcoin? No. So when Trump is talking about Bitcoin and scam, this is part of it. He's telling you some of the stuff that he know from the information. But it's not even that he's just telling you. This stuff has already been out here. How come this narrative is not mentioned when he talk about Bitcoin now? When you're down in Miami doing a Bitcoin conference, how come none of this stuff is mentioned? Right? Nobody talks about this. This is a huge issue. How did Bitcoin get to $60,000 when the FBI has it? And you're talking about cryptocurrency markets being manipulated. If the FBI has the largest wallet of Bitcoin in 2013, what do you think, they sold it? You think they gave the wallet to somebody else? What do you do? Give the wallet to Russia? China? Actually, they probably did give the wallet to China. As far as we know, it actually seems somewhat plausible. Nobody's telling people this stuff, man. They don't want to talk about this. I don't even know if people in crypto even know this stuff. They should. This might have flew under the radar, but I was just looking at this stuff because, government and the shady things they do. And Silk Road, Dark Web, I was kind of into that stuff around the time. No, it's funny because it says it doesn't make it has the world's largest Bitcoin wallet, but it doesn't make the world's largest Bitcoin holder because that's Satoshi Nakamoto, which should also be, yet again, alarming. And it says that doesn't make the FBI the world's largest Bitcoin holder. This honor is thought to belong to Bitcoin's shadowy inventor, Satoshi Nakamoto, who is estimated to have mined 1 million Bitcoins in the currency's early days. His stash is spread across many wallets, but it does not put the federal agency ahead of the Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss, who said in July that they cornered about 1% of all Bitcoins. And during that time, there was 12 million Bitcoin in circulation. Remember, only 21 million will ever be made. 5 million of that is already gone. So you only got about 17 something million. And I don't know how much is in circulation right now, off the top of my head. But it's interesting because if they have a huge wallet, 144,000 Bitcoin, did it stop there? Or do they still have it? You know what? Let me see this real quick. This article is from 2013. Is it? I don't see no date. I think it's just listing who are the largest Bitcoin owners. So you have Satoshi Nakamoto, you have Bulgaria, Bitfinex, the FBI, the Winklevoss twins, Garvin Anderson, Roger Ver, Barry Siebert. I know some of these names, Barry Siebert. I think I heard Tony Gillespie, Charlie Shrim. And so these people have the largest Bitcoin holdings or Bitcoin wallets, rather, or whatever. So they could control the market whenever they want to. So, and Bitcoin is at what, 30,000 right now. So all it takes is a billionaire, whoever, maybe 100 millionaire, to just all of a sudden decide to buy a bunch of Bitcoin. It's not enough to go around, right? right, right. But it's like, oh, if it gets to a high value, but man, this Bitcoin stuff is wild when you think about it, because it's like, how did it get to this point where it's just like, is anybody really paying attention to this? And this stuff is all from 2013. I'm trying to find something. So so now so now they can recover more Bitcoin. Right. Uh let's see if I can look up this one thing. I know I talked about in a podcast episode, but I can't remember exactly what the article was about. Uh and I think all this stuff is going to show me is recent things that just happened. Yeah, these are all basically off the Colonial Pipeline incident. Man, there's all this Bitcoin. No, no, I want to see. I can't remember. I should have looked up before I got on for the podcast. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. So here's the article from TechCrunch, 2011, 2011, 2005, last year, man, last year, last year, on November 5th, 2020. There we go. And I think I really talked about this maybe in November, October time frame. If you check out a back catalog of my podcast. So it talks about the Department of Justice says it seized over 1 billion in Bitcoin from the Silk Road drugs marketplace. Now it's still talking about the same thing, right? But now it's over 1 billion. So it was 144,000 coins, and now they just picked up 2.3 million, right, from the Colonial Pipeline. But so that 144,000 coins turned into $1 billion. Says 2 days ago, about $1 billion worth of Bitcoin that has sat dormant since the seizure of the Silk Road marketplace. Okay, now I remember that. So it was there the whole entire time. One of the biggest underground drugs, blah, blah, blah. In a statement Thursday, the Justice Department confirmed it had seized the 70,000 Bitcoins generating revenue from drug sales. It's 70,000. But we just saw the article that said 144,000. Are they talking about the same thing? Are they talking about the same thing? And they talking about who took it, mystery over. It wasn't no mystery over. This was already reported in 2013. See how they recycle news articles and stuff and they bring it back up to push out a narrative. It'll happen sometime years ago, and then they keep it under wraps for the most part until they want to push out a new narrative. And then they'll weaponize information. Knowledge is power, and information can be used as a weapon. That's why it's called informational warfare. That's why it's the art of war. You can use this stuff as a weapon, man. So it goes on to say 70,000 Bitcoins generated in revenue from drug sales on the Silk Web marketplace from a hacker known as Individual X, who moved a cryptocurrency from Silk Road into a wallet that hacker controlled. Now, didn't Wire just say it was dead pirates, whatever? And now this is Individual X? So if I'm reading this wrong, at face value, I can see that they have amassed 144,000 plus 70,000 Bitcoin. Wherever the math is at of that, I don't do public math real quick. What is that? 704. Man, my brain just went blank. 11, right? 214,000. Man, that was hard for me to do. I don't know why. Probably got it wrong anyways. But about 214,000. So it says the filing said that identity of Individual X is known to the government. As far as we know, that could be Satoshi Nakamoto, bro. But like, we don't know. So you don't think FBI, Department of Justice, you don't think they know who's behind Bitcoin? If it's say this is all an ongoing sting investigation that's been years in the making, you will not talk about Bitcoin. You will not talk about the owner of Bitcoin. You will pump up as much as possible, so so you can get all those people in the dark web, all those people hiding underneath rocks and stuff. They're doing their transactions, quote unquote, illegally in the eyes of the United States government and probably Interpol and whoever else, other governing agencies or law-abiding agencies, not law-abiding, yeah, 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 criminal agencies, or whatever around the world. Let's say right, law enforcement agencies. There we go. Couldn't think of the word. Law enforcement agencies around the world. It says, quote, Silk Road was the most notorious online criminal marketplace of its day. The successful prosecution of Silk Road's founder in 2015 left open a $1 billion question. Where did the money go? Today's forfeiture complaint answers this open question, at least in part, said U.S. Attorney David Anderson remarked. Like, okay, no, I forgot I had on this webpage or this tab. What do you mean? Wasn't this answer in 2013? Wasn't this answer in 2013? Justice Department said Thursday that a seized Bitcoin would be the subject of forfeiture proceedings. Let's see. It says, let me read some of these comments. It says, I don't understand how they seized the coin. They had to have been watching the hacker and then made an arrest. Furthermore, he must have been in the U.S. or extradited. Seems kind of fishy to me. Would like to see more evidence on this. Exactly, bro. Exactly. Like, it's kind of suspicious, right? Kind of suspicious. Kind of suspicious how, no one's talking about FBI being a huge holder of Bitcoin, right? Do people even know the FBI has a bunch of Bitcoin? Do you want to invest in Bitcoin, think it's the currency of the future, when the FBI, the United States government, has a big chunk of it, worth of over $1 billion? And what did they do with it? You know what they did with it? If you know anything about law enforcement agencies, you set up a sting operation. You put that money out there and then you making sure it's trackable. Oh, that's right, because Bitcoin is trackable. Now what they tell you is untrackable money is using money laundering. They're setting up that narrative, man. I stopped watching the show. What was it? Queen of the South. I used to watch that show. I stopped watching it because they pulled out that same stupid ass narrative. Oh, we'll put our money in Bitcoin and we get away with it. It's untrackable. Like, shut the fuck up. No, it's not. It's already been seized back in 2013. I thought it was 2009 at least, but whatever. This stuff already been seized. So what are they talking about, man? Just making up shit. They're putting out these false narratives, man. Wait. So this article is the TechCrunch article is from November 5th, 2020. But then this article is from August 13th, 2020. It's on NPR. It says Department of Justice seized Bitcoin websites from terror groups. Oh man, I was about to stand up and just walk away, man. I was about to just be done. Okay. Let's read this article. Let's see what it says. So the Justice Department has seized millions of dollars worth of cryptocurrency from the terrorist organizations, according to court documents unsealed Thursday in what the government called its larger ever seizure of cryptocurrency in the terrorism context. That was a direct quote. It says the Trump administration also said it seized several websites tied to to an ISIS scheme to sell fraudulent face masks to the public during the pandemic. All told, the government seized more than 300 cryptocurrency accounts, as well as several websites and Facebook pages allegedly belonging to members of Al Qaeda, ISIS, and the military wing of Hamas. Blah, blah, blah. I want to know an exact amount. Because is this the same thing or is this something separate? Is this something separate? Because it seizes Bitcoin, but is this separate from the incident in 2013? Because in 2013 it was 144,000, and then all of a sudden in November 5th, 2020 on TechCrunch, it's 70,000. Like how much Bitcoin does the United States government actually have. You don't think that'll make, hell, that alone should make the value go down, right? That alone should make the value go down because it's not being utilized. It houses a store of value. A store of value for who? The FBI, the Department of Justice. Not a store of value for you. Not a store of value for the citizens of El Salvador. So who is it a store of value for, bro? What are they talking about? That's why, as I see all this stuff coming on, I'm like, no, 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 man. The media and everybody's trying to lie to you. These are false narratives. People don't pay attention. People don't put things into context in the time span of history, right? You learn from the past so you don't make the same mistakes in the future, and you apply it to the present. But they forget. People flat out forget these things. I don't know why. I don't know what it is, but people forget. Because for me, when I hear something that doesn't make sense, I'm like, why doesn't this make sense? This must be something that I know, or maybe something that I have known and have forgotten. I need to refresh myself and go down this rabbit hole. And it's not in a rabbit hole. Follow this trail of Skittles that I left for myself. That's like, hey, remember, we know why this is fucked up. And so I was like, why? I wanted Bitcoin in the early days when it first came out. But over the time frame, I didn't want to deal with Bitcoin because I knew something was just off about it, but I couldn't remember why. And then I started thinking about the Silk Road siege and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, that's right. And then I seen that happen last year. I was like, hold on, man. They keep doing this. So what are they talking about? So how is it untraceable, yet they keep fucking tracking it down? Don't worry, I'm sure somebody's like, oh, because of the technical aspect of this and the networking and this and blah, blah, blah. No, because all this stuff is trackable. It's trackable. They're not telling nobody it's trackable. Look at this. It says cryptocurrency appeal lies in the potent mix of transparency and anonymity. All transactions are documented in a blockchain, a kind of a ledger or record keeping system that is visible to the public. But instead of being tied to a person's name or identity, such as money in a traditional bank account, the funds are only tied to a string of numbers. So guess what? If you know the string of numbers, if you know the wallet address, and you know who has access to that wallet address, there you go. You tracked it down. Voila. It says this layer of pseudo-anonymity has made cryptocurrency such as Bitcoin popular for some criminal transactions, but the Justice Department wrote in a newly unsealed court document that, quote, it is possible to determine the identity of an individual involved in a Bitcoin transaction through several different tools that are available to law enforcement, end quote. There you go. There you go. Why is no one telling the truth or the facts about Bitcoin? Why? 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 You don't think they know who Satoshi Nakamoto is? You really think governments around the world were just gonna let this shit Bitcoin come up and stuff and not at once figure out who the fuck was behind it? You don't think they put any reason? You think the FBI and Department of Justice seized Bitcoin and then not once try to figure out who the fuck was Satoshi Nakamoto? Hell, if anything, especially a United States citizen, you want your taxpayer dollars to go to work for you, and they should be doing their goddamn job and finding out who developed this stuff. You really think this is all just operating under just some guys oh yeah, somebody created this stuff. We don't really know who it is. We're just gonna leave it alone. Come on, does that even sound like it makes sense? You can't say the word bomb on a certain phone line stuff without the NSA listening in and stuff, right? You can't speak with your phone near you without all of a sudden getting an ad for something that you talked about out loud near your phone. But you telling me they're not trying to figure out who created Bitcoin? Come on, man. Man. And it's blowing my mind because, like, I just don't get it, bro. I just don't get it. Like, where is this all coming from? And even if some of these companies are having Bitcoin on a balance sheet, like I was saying yesterday, guess what? They'll have it and then they'll dump it, man. You don't think companies buy up assets and dump assets all the time? They have short-term assets. It's under their accounting. It's on their balance sheet. It's on their accounting document stuff. Some of that stuff you should be able to look it up. Especially when you're talking about investing in stocks and stuff, you should be looking into their documents as far as their accounting procedures. I don't necessarily do that. I go more based on the technology itself and is there a real world use case for it as far as the company is going on. And, you buy You invest in Apple stock because you want to invest because you like iPhones because you think they're gonna be some world changing. Somebody was saying that example, but I mean that's textbook. You invest in a company because of the product that it has, right? You're not investing in Ripple because of XRP product because it's not a security. XRP go on without Ripple. Actually, it literally is. So this is wild though. This is wild. So if you're into Bitcoin, you're talking about Bitcoin, you're thinking about Bitcoin, you really ask yourself one big question: what the fuck is the FBI doing with all their Bitcoin? Why they got $1 billion worth of Bitcoin? How much do they know? What are they not telling us? Because, like I said, all this could be a long ongoing sting operation that transcends different presidencies. Because guess what? It falls under national security. Oh, nobody understands that. I just thought of it just now, and like I knew I was still missing something. I kept talking about it. That's why I went on to the next topic. I knew I kept missing something. I couldn't think of it. Now it just hit me. That's national security right there. Whether it's domestically or even coming from somewhere overseas, doesn't matter. It's still an issue to national security. You know, you join the military, so that you're in the Department of Justice. You take an oath, defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Doesn't matter. So whether it's foreign or domestic, if it's an issue of national security, now it goes under different laws because you're a Patriot Act, right? Because of other laws that have been enacted and during this whole so-called global war on terror, that bullshit they made up. So you got all the stuff going on. So now you want to know, is an ongoing investigation being conducted, with Bitcoin and the creator of Bitcoin or the creators of Bitcoin and whatnot? Are they intentionally manipulating the market? Because it's an investigation. And remember, you invest at your own risk. That's your own risk. No matter what investment you put in, that is your own risk. So as you start to see some of these markets come down, as far as cryptocurrency, rather, I should say, and the money coming down and stuff like that, pay attention to what you're actually putting your money into, because a lot of this stuff are scams. And hell, some of the shit could be sting operations put together by the United States government, by the Department of Justice, and probably in association with other law enforcement agencies around the world. Because to be honest, that's what the fuck I would do. Put yourself in their position. Would you not do that? If you're trying to catch these so-called criminals, and this is how the game is being played, of cops and robbers, guess what? I'm going to utilize every tool at my disposal. Is that not what it just said? There's tools to find the anonymity, to know who is behind these certain wallets and stuff. They just said they got the tools. So it's not really that big of a deal. Oh, man. Oh, man. I'm just going on to the next topic. I already went over an hour. I didn't want to. So here's an article. Let me close this out. Okay, so here's an article from Zero Hedge. And I mentioned it before yesterday, talking about Russia and Russia going away from the US dollar. So this says Russia moves ordering state firms to switch to euro, quote, preparing, end quote, for a possible disconnect from SWIFT. Anything, if you know anything about financial railway systems and stuff like that, XRP ledger, stuff like that, they're trying to replace the old archaic system of SWIFT. I think ACH goes under SWIFT as well. I think SWIFT should be out of Geneva, Switzerland, I believe. And it goes Swedish International Wealth Transfer. No, whatever. Anyways, I definitely just made that up. I did it all wrong, anyways. I might do a whole separate breakdown video for Swift. If I do it right now, I'll make this podcast episode even longer. But it says on Monday, a flurry of bombshell statements came out of Russia after, at the end of last week, Putin blasted the United States for using the dollar as a tool for waging "quote unquote" economic political war in an address before the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum. Amid a tightening U.S. and EU sanctions news, most recently surrounding the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, Putin also suggested a more "quote unquote" acceptable scenario of European nations paying for Russian gas in euros, amid with alarming appears a border a broader de-dollarization effort, which includes Russia's sovereign wealth fund deciding to dump all of its dollars and dollar-denominated assets in favor of those denominated in euros and the yuan. So they're going along with China, right? Digital yuan, and then the euros out of the European Union. These countries are tired of U.S. dollar being used literally in a sense of economic and political warfare. You just said it, being used as a weapon. And they're like, hey, you know what? We ain't got to deal with y'all dollars because, and everybody's like, oh, you got to deal with dollars, but you can't deal with dollars because guess what? The dollar index is around 89, 90, something like that. We know the value of the dollar has been decreasing since long before I was alive, way before even it was taken off the gold standard in 1970, 1971 by Nixon. So the dollar has been decreasing. And even with the so-called petrol oil being behind it, it's still nothing. Especially even more now because they're trying to go so-called greener, right, and get away from oil dependency on those Middle Eastern countries. It says, quote, the euro is completely acceptable for us in terms of gas payments. This can be done, of course, and probably should be done, end quote. And now Russia's finance minister has announced preparations for stimulus to move FX liquidity into euros. So they're gonna pump up their money supply, right? And they're gonna use that to buy liquidity into euros. So they're gonna get that to get euros or whatever central bank euro currency that's gonna come out and here in the next year or so, or probably by the end of this year. Who fucking knows? While specifying his mulling ordering state companies to switch to euros, according to RRA News. Additionally, Moscow said it's responding to calls for more sanctions by quote preparing for possible or quote unquote preparing for possible disconnect from international payment systems, namely SWIFT. So what happens when Russia goes away? Will other countries follow? So as I talk about that and Russia going away, understand BRICS. It's an acronym, BRICS. This is from Investopedia website. So BRICS is an acronym, stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Interesting, right? It says BRIC is an acronym of those countries. Goldman Sachs economist Jim O'Neill coined the term BRIC without South Africa in 2001. That's how far back this shit goes. Claiming that by 2050, the four BRIC economies would come to dominate the global economy by 2050. Understand, if Trump wants to be a kind of a nationalist, whatever, and say that, hey, we're pulling out all these international things because we want to be part of y'all so-called new world order, y'all global society, because y'all global society is going to be based on communism and a lot of centralization. We in America want to have decentralization, or really more capitalist, free market society when we're talking about economy and stuff like that. But if you still want to deal in international trade, guess what? You're going to have to, I don't know, make a deal and use wherever reserve currency that the IMF has. So now you see the connection of Trump and the IMF and that article from Council of Foreign Relations. He might say, oh, it's a strong dollar. He can sit there, oh, it should be reserve currency. Yes, but that's coming from his perspective of America first. And yes, America is great. Our dollar is great. Our currency is great. Yes, it should be the world reserve currency. It's all, pump up, hoopla. It's all rah rah. It sounds great. But guess what? The rest of the world is saying, fuck US dollar. We don't want to deal with this shit no more. We got our own shit going on. And if you know anything about XRP, if you've done any digging, conspiracy theory, no, I don't say conspiracy theory. I'm not using that word. You've done it on a rabbit hole. You've been on crypto Twitter. If you see, all about XRP, you know about the BRICS, you know about association with that. So this has been a long time coming. When I say they're talking about getting away, when Russia's talking about getting away from international SWIFT, if they're part of this BRICS economy, this part of the BRICS group or whatever, these other four countries are going to do the same thing, right? So what happens when you got China and I think Brazil and India, they got the top economies as well, and they're coming along. And really, what you're looking at too, especially with China, Brazil, that's 2 billion people right there. A billion people in Russia, excuse me, a billion people in India, a billion people in China. Money is money, but United States has a population of about 330 million people. Meanwhile, you're dealing with a population of a billion in India and a billion in China. If they get their economy right, as far as their, especially their financial infrastructure, well, who will have a lot more money? More people equals more money, in some sense, depending on how you do it. Because they might be communist, China might be communist inside of their country, but when they're dealing with international trade, it might be a little bit different. I'm just talking though. It says South Africa was added in 2010. This thesis became conventional market wisdom in the aughts. Whatever that means. Oh, I think okay. But there were always skeptics, including some who claimed the phrase was Goldman marketing hype. Indeed, few talk about BRICS much anymore, at least not in terms of global domination. Goldman closed his BRICS focused investment fund in 2015, merging with a broader emerging markets fund. So we know the idea, the concept of BRICS, as far as them being superpowers of the world economics, might not be a thing, but over this year, remember, everybody, over these past couple of years, everybody's been adopting this UN 2030 agenda. It seems to be China and Russia, and they're all playing along with it too. And so is the European Union as well. All this stuff is coming. They're literally in front of our eyes, switching around the world's economy, getting off the SWIFT system, going into a more international, so-called climate-friendly, greener-friendly system, and one that will be more instant and has more liquidity, and transactions will be made faster, as well as being documented. Right? All this stuff is going on, man. And I'm just gonna keep harping on it. I'm gonna keep talking about it because, like I said, as the crypto markets are down today, if you know what you're investing in, it doesn't even mean nothing. Because, like I said, the markets are manipulated anyway. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, man. Everybody talking about Bitcoin, yet how many people actually own one Bitcoin? And then people that regular people that might have Bitcoin, even your millionaires might, or maybe billionaires that might have Bitcoin. Maybe they got a few Bitcoin, 10 Bitcoin. They ain't got a Bitcoin that FBI has. I know that much. They don't have the Bitcoin FBI has. Now think about all the other Bitcoin that FBI has seized that they can't talk about because maybe it's still an ongoing investigation. Right? Maybe that part of the case hasn't been concluded yet. Maybe there's still some other evidence that they have to keep close to them because, like I said, that evidence is going to be used in continuous ongoing investigation of these other so-called criminal enterprises around the world. So we're talking about cryptocurrency. We're talking about commodities, right? You're talking about foreign exchange markets. Pay attention to what you're investing in, where you're putting your money at. Pay attention to whether or not you want to put your money in and keep it in a bank account. Maybe you want to keep it somewhere else. I mean, it doesn't matter where you keep your money at. It could be tracked. Now, your bank might not be able to track it, or a lender, maybe you're trying to get a loan and stuff, maybe they might not know where your money is at. Maybe they don't get it. But when people talk about cryptocurrencies and stuff like that, oh, it's going to go away. It's not a fad. It's not a fad. It's not going away. NFTs, all that stuff, none of this stuff is going away. All these assets are being tokenized, being turned into digital format so it can go around the world instantaneously. You just got to pay attention and use your better judgment to invest in which ones. And yeah, you invest to make money. And there's nothing wrong with that because guess what? That's the goal, to make money. Yeah, you might like the tech and maybe you're that type of person. I do like some of this tech and stuff. I do like it, but guess what? At the end of the day, I'm trying to make money, man. I'm trying to make money, and for the most part, ensure that my shit just doesn't go completely away to the wayside. Trying to make sure I take care of myself and my kids. Myself, really. I'm trying to make sure I take care of my kids. I can take care of myself in a not cardboard box, but in a 700 square foot room, really. Give me a toilet, a futon, a TV with some internet connection. I have my Xbox. I'm good right there. Give me a microwave, a stove, and a sink. I'm good. I don't need anything else. I don't need much else, rather. But you really got to pay attention to this stuff because this summer is going to be interesting. It's going to really be a crackdown on stuff. And they've been plotting this for a long time. Those behind the scenes that we have a hard time trying to identify the names of, even though for the most part, they all probably walk around in plain sight. Actually, I'm almost 99% sure they're all walking around in plain sight. Whether it's your bankers, investment, hedge fund managers, all this other stuff, CEOs, doesn't matter. They're right there in plain sight. They just mind their own fucking business. You could walk past a billionaire on the street, we wouldn't even know it. I say that because I literally done that. When I was in London, I went to London for vacation stuff, and coincided. I wanted to see the Bucks play in London, 2019. Walked right past one of the owners of the Bucks team, one of the Glazer brothers. Didn't even know it. Oh, here's $1 billion walking on the street, regular clothes, hiding in plain sight. People don't understand this stuff, man. You think the richest people in the world are Warren Buffett, or the people that they put in the magazine articles and they write stories about and stuff, and they do movies on? Man, so many there's people out there that are rich. You have no idea they're rich, and they're just walking, going about their normal day. They probably shop at a grocery store you shop at, right? They probably wearing the same shoes you got on. Ain't even expensive. Money is interesting because anybody can make it, especially when you're talking about the United States of America. For the most part, a lot of us can make it. But it's not about making it, it's about how you manage it. And a lot of people have a hard time managing it because they lead with their emotions when it comes to money. And you can't do that. You gotta have a logical foundation. You gotta have some basis in logic when you're doing with your money and managing it. I don't talked enough for this episode, man. I'll be back on Thursday. I won't be back on tomorrow. Tomorrow's Wednesday. Yeah, I'll be back on Thursday. Yeah, I'll be back on Thursday. Unless something huge happens tomorrow or whatever, I'll be back on Thursday. I got things to do tomorrow anyway. So check out my blog site, Damian Jackson, DAMIN, Jackson22.com for all my podcast updates and any other information I share on the blog site. And then you have the links to my social media account, also links to how you can listen to the podcast, the audio version of the podcast, whether it be Apple or Spotify or Pandora or Amazon, wherever else the shit is the podcast is at. Definitely check that out. Hopefully you have a great day. Hopefully you take some time to look into some of this cryptocurrency stuff, man. Because it's here. It's here. And there's a few of them out there you can still buy into and really pay attention to the organization and the partnerships behind the ledger and the token. Don't get so caught up in the token. Pay attention to the network, the blockchain itself that doesn't have any utilization and value. Because moving forward, cryptocurrency will be about value and utilization. Does it have a real world use case? Does it solve a real world problem? Does it have real world value? Because that's where the physical part or the physical essence of the blockchain, these tokens, come into play and give it some real value. Do your own research. Don't listen to me. I'm just a crazy guy on the internet. Whatever, blah, blah, blah. So until next time.